and welcome to another Academy session. We'll be looking at blueprints, employment contracts. I'm Laura Jeffords Greenberg, the head of the Wordsmith Academy.
I'm Emily, and I'm one of the legal engineers at Wordsmith.
Thank you for joining us. And so my first question is, because this is relatively new, what are blueprints when we're talking about them inside the Wordsmith product?
Blueprints are basically a framework that you build around your documents that will help the AI intelligently fill them in. So you can use it for fairly complex legal documents, but you can also use it for things like order forms and empower the business to just forward in an email chain with the commercials, and it will fill in the order form and send it back to that salesperson or person in procurement. And it will make sure that they're using the correct terms because it's just the ones in the system, which you as a lawyer can make sure are up to date. So for example, if you want a certain clause, depending on which jurisdiction you're in, all you have to do is give it that jurisdiction at some point, and it will know to pull out the specific clauses relevant to that jurisdiction. It's very empowering, and the people in the business can email in. They can just email assistant at Wordsmith, have it back in their inbox. So you can use it for pretty much all of your documents, basically anything the business are using and anything you're using in the legal team. So I'm going to show you how, firstly, you can build one from your own documents. You just click this little blueprints icon, new blueprint, and you can upload your document here. So it works best if you have like square brackets around the words that you want to change, which is, I guess, how a lot of lawyers would work, is you'd have like date in square brackets to be inserted in your like house styles, house templates. So that works well. You can see like employee name, it's picked that one up. And if you've done it like that, if you prepped your document, it just helps the AI a little bit. And you can see on this side to the left, this is the form where all the placeholders are listed. And this additional instructions section is basically like the prompt for the AI. So it just tells them what to do. And in this instance, employee name, that's fairly self-evident. So it probably could have worked that out itself without that. But for more complicated ones, you can give it a bit more context. Sometimes maybe it's not immediately obvious, or you want something like very specific to put in there. And here it's picked up these as variables, these company registration numbers and company registered address. And that might be because you have different entities. So if you go to this one, you can pick an option for the format of the answer, go to drop down. And so option 1 for the company registration number, say it's like Scotland, it will be like an SC one. And then if it's England, it might just be like, and you can then direct it to select which option depending on, so I'm going to tell it to select option 1. And then what you can do is do this little square bracket, and what it's going to do is connect to another placeholder. So I'm going to connect this to governing law. So I'm saying select option 1 if what is Scotland, and then select.
And also, like I point out here, it doesn't matter. I mean, if you're making your template and other people are looking at, you probably should spell things right. But
yeah,
you don't have to in prompting as long as you're somewhat close.
Yeah, which is amazing because we all write so fast and we're used to like auto correction. Yeah, it will work out. It'll know what I meant, even though I keep writing things wrong. Basically, I've picked a company number, and for whichever jurisdiction it is, you can obviously do the same for like the registered address. And I've tied that company number to the governing law clause. You could tie it to where the employee is based, or whichever thing you want to tie it to. Maybe you have an employee based in a different country that's not the same as the entity. So yeah, but it's great to stop people like putting the wrong address in because, you know, they don't know what the registered address is, as you say. So they've just Googled the address and put the office in, and that's not the right one. So it's really helpful kind of having that control as well.
Definitely. And again, you just dropped in your template agreement. You didn't need.
Yeah, I haven't actually done anything. And it's done a pretty good job of working out like what it wants. Like the AI has basically made its own prompts here. So for the probation extension period, it's just said the number of months, blah, blah, blah. Like it's worked it out. This would probably work quite well without much tweaking if it's, you know, this isn't a particularly complicated one. If you want it to make decisions that are more complex, you just need to spend a bit more time on building your blueprint. So that it knows. So for example, if there's certain laws, like if you're in the US, and I know there's certain laws where if you're over 40, different terms apply to if you're under 40 in like a settlement agreement. So it could work that out from the employee's date of birth that you gave it. If you in the instructions say, like if the person's over 40, this clause applies. If they're under 40, this clause applies. If they're in this US state, this legislation applies, or in this US state, this legislation applies. So you really, there's quite, it's pretty amazing. The longer that you spend on it, the more complicated you can build, but also it works pretty well if you just drop it in.
But I'm thinking about just all like how much consistency and accuracy this will improve. Instead of someone having to like figure out, like you say, okay, I need to remember, maybe it's in the playbook, maybe it's not, that if someone is under or over 40, I need to switch these clauses.
Yeah, exactly. And the way that we always did it, I would create like a document that had the drafting notes in it and comment bubbles. And so if it was someone in the business that needed to use that, they would have to kind of like wrangle through all of that. And like the chances of there being a mistake is probably quite high when it's that sort of manual process. And maybe they don't have the context and understanding as well of knowing when those certain clauses apply and they don't immediately make sense. Like just wording, is different in different jurisdictions. You have to say things slightly differently.
I can just think of so many times I could have used this.
Yeah, it's amazing. It was just speed everything up. It's so good. So it is quite it's definitely a leveling up of those document automation things that I used to use, where you would put information in because they would basically just map out what you put it in, find and replace. And also one of the great things is it retains your formatting too. So you're not gonna get one of those like AI documents that looks a bit like it's obviously come from ChatGPT with those little lines and things. So it will keep whatever formatting you want, which obviously is important for lawyers. Like you always have the way that you want it formatted and your like house styles and things.
And then let's just say like let's say it's a sales agreement. So then I would need the other company's information. Can I ask AI to like check it with company's house if I'm in the UK?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to think what would be a good thing to ask it to look up. But for example, if you have like, maybe I'll pop into another one, like an NDA.
Yeah, sorry, that was not employment related.
No, but it's a good general question. So if you have an NDA template like this one, speed things up, and you're using like web as well, and you could specifically also say, can you go to company's house, for example, so that it actually like this address might just pick up the address that's on Google. So you can be really specific and ask like, can you search company's house, and has found the company number, so it has gone to company's house, which is great.
Oh, so I didn't even have to tell it to do that.
No, it actually just did it. I wasn't sure if it was going to just find like where our office is, but it's actually found our registered address to put that in.
Perfect. And I think that probably has something to do with our layer of legal intelligence that we...
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we're told when we direct it to go to certain sources, there's a hierarchy, and something like company's house or those company registers are going to rank higher than just like Google Maps or something.
Well, this is very cool. I really appreciate you sharing this with us, and I'm sure we'll do some more examples later on as well, so that we can kind of provide everyone other additional examples. But for now, this was a great introduction, and I'm excited to start using it.
Yeah, well, have fun. Let me know how you get on.